Hi, everybody. This is Ken Corbin, and welcome once again to the Manufactured Home Show. This is the program where I have the opportunity to interview the absolute best of the best in our industry, from communities, associations, suppliers, manufacturers, and today with Chase Bradshaw, one of the premier young dynamos in our industry, and you'll hear a lot more about him in just a moment. But as always, if you have any questions, suggestions, perhaps you'd like to be interviewed on the program, simply drop me an email to ken@callkencorbin.com. And if you'd like to see Chase's interview, as well as all the others in this series, you can simply go to my website, callkencorbin.com, and go on the upper right-hand corner and click on the link that says Manufactured Home Show. You can also go to learnmh.com, and in the upper right-hand corner, click on the link that says Training Programs. And of course, you can always go to my business Facebook page, which is Ken Corbin Speaker, and all the programs are listed there. And with that, today's guest, Chase Bradshaw, who was a multi-sport athlete growing up and who went on to college to pursue his passion. When his wife became pregnant, his wife-to-be, he spent long hours in the oil field learning the values of hard work. Chase eventually went back to college to study sports education, where all that background helped him to get where he is today. When entering our industry just 5 short years ago, Chase quickly moved up in the ranks, becoming salesperson of the year for a large retailer, then managing a location within 2 years, and eventually co-managing multiple stores. Today, he's partnered with Titan Homes of Mississippi and building one of the fastest growing retail chains in the entire nation. Chase Bradshaw is all about team building, cultivating a group of successful retail sales centers, sales representatives, and sales managers, while balancing his life at home with his beautiful wife and his 3 lovely daughters. That in itself, I can assure you, is a full-time job. When people ask him what he does for a living, Chase simply says, "I love helping people find the home of their dreams. It's in my blood." I recently had the pleasure of working with Chase and his team at their grand opening and open house event in Laurel, Mississippi. And I will tell you, folks, it was quite the event, with Chase and his team taking over 50 applications and deposits in 4 short days. Quite an accomplishment. I'm sure we'll hear about that and many of the other things that Chase has to talk about today. And with that, my dear friend, Chase Bradshaw, we are so glad you're here and welcome to the program.
Yeah, man, it's my pleasure. The man, the myth, the legend himself.
Well, you are the dude. Let me tell you something, Chase. In the times that we've had to work together, it has really, really, absolutely been a joy to see the incredible things that you've been able to accomplish. But this all started back in the oil fields, back when you were working your tail off out there in the cold or in the heat. So what was it? What were the keys? What brought you to the mobile home, to the manufactured housing industry?
Man, I'm going to be honest with you, Ken. I didn't know anything about mobile homes. I had no desire to be in the mobile home industry. I met Brad Russell in North Dakota, and it was about negative 50 degrees on a job where we were at. And he was like, "Man, this is my last hitch. I'm going back home. I'm going to sell mobile homes." And I was like, "Man, mobile home, what are you doing?" And so he's like, "Man, you ought to come do it. You'll love it. Man, you'd be great." And I was like, "Nah, man, I'm good." I was working for a good company. I was making good money. You know, they were good to me. And it's one of the deals with taking that risk into the unknown was tough. So I was just like, "No, man, I'm good." And so Brad, he came back home and started managing a lot in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and called me. And for a year, he just hounded me. Man, you got to come do this. You got to come do this. In the oil field, it's like a roller coaster anyway. And I was driving every other weekend to see my little girl back home in Mississippi. And I was driving or flying, and it was just tough. And all the stars just kind of lined up. And man, I called Brad one day, and I was like, man, I said, let's do it. And so, man, I moved back, and we did it, and I hadn't looked back.
Well, that's one heck of a transition, going from the oil fields to the manufactured housing sales. So, like, what was some of the hardest obstacles for you to overcome in making that transition?
Man, I'll tell you, the first obstacle was, just believing in myself and taking that risk. I had a steady income, benefits, the whole 9 yards. And I said, what if I'm not good at it? I quit a good thing. So I called my manager at the time and told him what was going on. He said, man, look, you always have a job with us. Go try it out for 6 months. If you don't like it, call me. You can come on back. I was like,
wow.
Okay, well, good deal. And so, man, I did it, and it was, overcoming, failure. Now, that was a big thing. So, I mean, right out of the gate, it's working, putting all that time in on a deal, and then it falling apart at the last minute, and, not being able to look people in the face and not be able to help them. I mean, it was a bunch of transitions like that. I'm used to being outside for 16-hour days, and now I'm in an office setting, and it was one extreme to the other for sure. And I mean, I look at it as the best decision I ever made, though, Ken.
Well, that's, speaking of the transition, obviously you didn't have immediate success, and you had to really work at it. So what were some of the things that you learned that you had to do from that transition to get to some level of success? I mean, within a short span of time, obviously for that large retail chain, you became salesperson of the year. So what were some of the key things in the beginning that you had to learn to do to pursue those goals?
Well, I would say first off, you had to outwork everybody. And that's what, that's what was frustrating at first, because I was putting in the time. I was on the lot 6 days a week, but there was so much I didn't know, and it was frustrating me that I didn't know everything right off the bat. And that's what I try to teach my guys now. Look, you have to be patient. Rome wasn't built in a day. You're not going to learn everything overnight. And so being patient was something I learned not relatively quick. It was rough. The first 6 months was rough for me. I was putting in the time, and I would see guys that wasn't working half the hours I was working, but were killing it. And so I told myself, I was like, well, it's kind of like a football game. You may get beat, but you're not going to get out hustled. And so I just stuck to my grind. And there were times where, Brad and I had conversations, and I was like, man, maybe this isn't for me. I got a family to support. I'm paid on commissions, and it was just frustrating. And he kept telling me, man, look, I promise you, just stick with it. It's gonna come around. It's gonna come around. It's gonna come around. And it finally did. And when it did, I never looked back. But the confidence that I had to build is what was the turning point. So I wasn't confident in what I was doing. I wasn't confident in asking for money from customers. I wasn't confident in asking to look at their credit, and I didn't really have any training on any of that. So I was just kind of winging everything.
Well,
And
there's a lot of young people that we have in our industry today who are going to have this opportunity to see this video interview or perhaps hear it on a podcast. So if you had to maybe say a few key factors to your success that helped you open up that door, what would you say some of the key things looking back that helped you to get to that level of success?
I would say work ethics is going to be, that's going to be right there. That's number one. I mean, you got to put in the time. You got to put boots on ground kind of deal. I'd say you got to market yourself, and that's one thing that I started doing is, marketing myself. And, it was, you've seen some of the videos and stuff that I've posted, and, separating yourself from everyone else, and you want to outwork your competitors. And so, I'm a personable guy. I like to act goofy and all that. And so my videos I did, that's what I was doing. And it would, at first, everybody was like, what are you doing? But then, man, it caught on, and I would say you need to market yourself, boots on the ground's a big thing, and worry about what you can control. And that's now, especially this day and age, with everything's going on, that's why I try to teach my guys is, look, there's no need in getting upset about that, or, you can't control any of that stuff. So it's just staying positive and staying motivated. That's the key to it. With everything, there's a lot of moving parts.
Well, I've got to tell everybody, if they have the opportunity, they absolutely need to go to your Facebook page and see full billboards with Chase Bradshaw on the billboards, and the great video, the great marketing tools. But all of this, Chase, came together, and when you've joined and are now building the Titan Homes of Mississippi team, that's a whole new deal, starting with brand new people like you were, a few years back, bringing them in and building these sales centers like you have. What's been the biggest challenge, or challenges, I should ask, that you've had to overcome, just like you did in the beginning in your sales career? These are new challenges, or I like to say new opportunities. Maybe share with us what you've done.
I'd say one challenge is sleep. I haven't slept. I've aged 10 years in the past 2. No, I'd say, getting the right people on the bus, I think that's a big deal. It doesn't matter how many sales centers you have, if you don't have the right people on the bus. And that's one thing I take pride in, and one thing I'm very proud of is the teams that we built here with Titan Homes. We're family. I mean, you spend more time with each other than you do with your own families. And so to me, that's your number one factor. You got to have a good team in place. And, we do here at Titan Homes, and I'm excited about that for sure. And we got our entire sales staff, South Mississippi, none of them has ever been in the mobile home industry. Everyone's been in the mobile home industry less than a year and a half the most. And so that's been training everybody. And like I said, I didn't have any training whenever I got into it. And so I'm the type of guy where I just like to do it. It's just easier and quicker for me to do it than it would be to show you. But I enjoy being a leader, and I enjoy teaching and coaching that, and to see that ending product, and the guys and gals that we got here, man, they're remarkable. You've met them. So I mean, just a short period of time, what they've done is crazy, and I think that the products, getting the inventory on your lot, just getting everything set up. There's like I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of moving parts to it. And so it's, man, I tell you, just building that team eased everything. So, I mean, so one of the things I've learned is you want your team to know everything you know because it makes your job 10 times easier. And so,
I couldn't agree with you more. And I use always the popsicle effect, that you want your team learning and pushing you up and learning everything that you have learned. And at the same time, and I think you've brought up an incredibly important point, is that instead of going out and rehashing or recycling old mobile home or manufactured home cars, our car salespeople, you've come in and you've built a team from scratch. You have grown your own. And that's just a remarkable feat that you've been able to do. But then things have changed. In the last number of months, we've come into a situation today with the COVID virus that it's changed the way all of us learned how to do business in the past. So there's had to have been some adjustments, obviously, that you've made. There's had to have been some changes. Maybe share with us some of the things that you've been able to do.
well, obviously, the biggest part with everything going on is the safety of your staff and our customers. So we've emphasized that a lot, and we've got game plans in place, and we've hired a company that comes in every other week and just cleans, sanitizes the office, and stuff like that. Managing the customer expectations, I think, is a big crucial part right now because of the manufacturers being so far out. A lot of customers don't want to wait 4 months for a house to come in and stuff like that. So just easing their mindsets on that, and taking care of your customers right now is even more crucial than it ever has been. We try to give them the best customer service experience they've ever had. And so I heard one time that your customer service, they're going to compare it to the best and worst experience they've ever had. So when somebody goes somewhere else, for whatever it may be, if they go to a car lot, I want them to compare their experience to when they came to our lot here. And the communication part of it, it's with everything going on, just your customers keeping them cool, calm, and collected. Your job is to ease the headaches, and they're stressed out, a lot. They still need homes,
Yeah.
So that's been, I think, the communication part of it, and the customer service, and the safety, just having a game plan for everything. And that's what we try to do here. Brad and I talk every day, and just trying to have a game plan for anything that comes up. You can't, there's stuff that happens that you can't control and you wasn't prepared for, but it's crazy times right now, Ken, but man, we're going to get through this deal for sure. Just trying to keep your teams motivated and positive. And so, and I got a good group down here where, it's not real hard to do. And so it's fun coming to work, and they take pride in what they do. And so it's taking care of your customers right now is our number one thing. The inventory, everybody's having the same issues with all that. So, just doing the best you can. Like I said earlier, just worry about what we can control.
So young people, there's a lot of folks now with the business coming back and growing as it is. And like you said, everybody's on the same level. We all have basically the same types of inventory. We have basically the same types of financing. So if I'm a young guy or a young woman and I'm entering the business, what would be maybe the one biggest or two biggest recommendations you might give someone that says, hey, I want to enter manufactured housing. I want to be another Chase Bradshaw. What would you tell them to do?
I tell you to believe in yourself. Number one, bet on yourself. That's what I did, and that's what Brad had, instructed. I mean, he instilled that in me. He's like, man, what you can do. And so a lot of people, there's a negative stigma, around sales and around mobile homes and all that. So it's that you just you have to grind it out. This isn't for everyone, for sure. I've hired and fired one of my best friends, and so but it wasn't for him. And so believing in yourself, and it's just like in anything, in a sport or anything. I was cocky and confident, before I ever started in this industry, and I think the competitive streak I had kind of helped press me. My goal was to be number one in the company. I didn't care to make the most money, because if I was number one in the company, the money was going to come. Yeah. And so that was just my competitive streak. I was like, well, if he can do it, I can do it. And so just grind it out. I mean, that's just worry about what you can control, be patient, and grind. Boots on the ground.
Well, let me ask you this last question. I'm someone out there, I'm entering the business, and I hear about this incredible company called Titan Homes of Mississippi. And if I wanted to reach out and talk to Chase Bradshaw, I wanted to get a little bit more insight on your incredible background, some of the things that you do, or heck, if I'm just entering the business and I'm looking for a job and I want to get a hold of someone, how does someone reach out to contact you, Chase?
Man, call me directly on my cell phone, 601-310-9262. I'm married to it. I'm on it at midnight, responding to customers and stuff as well. And so you can email me, cbradshaw@titanhomes.ms. And call me at the office, 601-268-1900. Anytime. I'm here to help. I love the industry. I've met some of the amazing people, some great friends that I'll have for the rest of my life in this. And, we're all in it together. Everybody's got the same fight going on. And so I'm here to help anybody. I want everybody to succeed. And I learn every day. If you're not learning, you need to find something else to do.
I agree with you 100%. Chase, I want to thank you. I was really looking forward to this because I knew the energy that you bring, the competitiveness, the drive is what people need to look at and aspire for. So with that, Chase, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for doing such a great job and helping us today. And for all of you out there, I want to thank you for tuning in and listening to this great interview with Chase Bradshaw. And we look forward to seeing you again on the Manufactured Home Show. Goodbye.